Kevin Lee is supposed to be the next champion, the next big thing. He's supposed to be the guy that gives Khabib all he can handle with his size and his strength and his wrestling and his takedowns. He checks all the boxes to be a top contender. Al Quinta, he's a nice fighter, a great fighter, a journeyman type guy, it seems in a way, but someone who's among the very best in the world. He's up there somewhere, not the best, but somewhere he's up there. But Al's supposed to lose that fight. And he shows you why you never know what's going to happen in a fight. And that's one of the reasons why I love this sport. I'm Nate, he's Rich, and we're trading blows.
There's something in here that you're never going to take from me, and Kevin Lee will never. There's something I got that he doesn't have, and he'll never have it.
5 minutes of hell, Al. Beautiful. 5 minutes of hell. Come on, love you, baby. Listen good. 5 minutes of hell, Al.
For the winner by unanimous decision.
Welcome back to Trading Blows, where we represent the hardcore, and we got a great show for you today. This weekend, packed with MMA action, doubleheader at Bellator, UFC on Fox 31. Fantastic, Nate. And of course, before we get started, I need you guys to follow us on Twitter, at TBMMAPod, at Trading Blows on Instagram, and join the army. We got a burgeoning Facebook group going off, got plenty of dudes in there at Trading Blows Podcast. Follow us everywhere, get involved, let's make it happen. But Nate, we got to make it happen on UFC 31, man. That was a fantastic show last night, dude, to finish off an era with Fox.
It was a fantastic show. I mean, Kevin Lee was the person who we've all been penciling in as like the next big thing, and like here comes Al Quinta like to ruin the party. He showed up and just beat him up last night. I mean, did you see Kevin Lee standing there bopping up and down, looking like he won the fight when they're announcing it? What's he thinking? I mean, did anybody else really think Kevin Lee won that fight? I mean, give me a break.
He should go back and watch that. And it's totally true. For me, I had first round. That was the closest round. The first round I had for Al for sure. 2 and 3, you got to give him to Kevin Lee with the back control and all that. But then 4 and 5 was all Al, dude. All Al. No fit takedown attempts. It was all Al all the way, buddy.
I agree. I mean, I didn't think it was that close of a fight. I mean, I know if you're, of course we're going on a 10-point must system round by round, and
right.
I do think Kevin got that second and third round, just like you said, but I think he clearly lost the first, fourth, and fifth for sure. So I mean
first, I mean, the first was the only one, but that's starting out the match.
I thought going into the fifth round that was anybody's fight. Going into the fifth, that was anyone's fight,
and that's what it came down to.
Al
man. It was
clearly won that round. So
100%. That was his best round.
Yeah, definitely.
That was his best round, Nate. And you know what I love too? In the first round, he really established that single leg to the attack, to the standing attack, and he right away put a stamp on it with that spinning attack that really got Kevin Lee's attention within the first minute of that fight. Like, he's like, this is what I'm doing this fight, and it worked all fight, Nate. He was really landing blows from up top. He had all the stand-up. I mean, Kevin Lee showed some ground game, clearly, he has it, but it was all Al in the stand-up throughout this whole fight, Nate.
Oh, for sure. And, I love the commentators, like Felder, DC, and Ansick. I mean, they definitely brought their A game for the commentators. So those guys were awesome. They picked right up on that, on Al shooting for the single quick, and then getting him thinking about it, because Al's game is to do the stand up, and that's what he wants to do. But he wants to get Lee thinking about the takedown as well. So that's why he came out, faking those takedowns early on, just to get him thinking about other things.
And Kevin Lee, bottom line here, you can say whatever you want about closeness of the fight, okay? He had it, regardless of what happened, for, I would say, total 5-6 minutes of actual fight time between the 2 and 3rd rounds, I would say. He had it right where he wanted him, with the body triangle. This is his signature move. I mean, this is what he wants to do to guys. Get him in this position and finish him with the RNC. That's what he's been doing to guys. And he's got a deadly rear naked choke. And Al defended it. They had a game plan. Sarah and Longo, they had a fantastic game plan for the kid with the toughness. He was in the right position. He couldn't get it done. And that frustrated. When you had it twice, when you had in the 3rd round, when you had most of the 3rd round, that was the strongest round for Lee. He had him on the ground the most of that fight. And, most of that round in the body triangle, making it happen. And he still couldn't get it done. That had to discourage him. I mean, that was it. You saw fatigueness in that 4th and 5th round. Al did a great job, bud.
And also, when we're going round by round, I mean, we're also losing sight of the fact that Al had Kevin in real trouble in the 5th round. Al had Kevin in real trouble in the 4th round with a big uppercut and a couple of good straights. I mean, like, Kevin was in trouble a few times in that fight, and I don't think Al was ever in really big trouble aside from that rear naked choke, and he was in big trouble there, of course, but I think that's the only time he was in really big trouble, and I think Kevin was in trouble quite a few times.
I completely 100% agree. And there's a bad look by the UFC as well with here interviewing him and he's sitting down the side of the cage.
What's going on with that? He's sitting in the corner moping like his puppy died. I mean, give me a break, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, man, I'm rooting for you. I picked you to win, and you're over here, moping in the corner.
Right.
Give me a break.
That's some sore loser shit. That was a great fight. Recognized as a great fight.
It was like full of self-pity. It was just pathetic.
When you compare it to last weekend with Ortega and Holloway having a similar situation, it was mostly Holloway last weekend, Nate. Really? Mostly Holloway, right? And you see these guys at the end of the fight, you couldn't have a greater example of fantastic sportsmanship and class that you saw these two talking like, friends, man.
Yeah,
like,
you see that clip? Like, yeah, man, great fight. We should be friends. That was great.
Dude, are you kidding me,
I
man?
put it on Facebook. Got a lot of reaction on our Facebook group.
Amazing, right? Compare this to Lee. Like, you took his ball away, dude. Like, I mean, come on, brother. Like, that's ridiculous. But this was a great night of fights, dude. I mean, Al had a great job. I mean, Al's in the mix. This is going to be great to talk about in the future. But getting into the rest of that card, there was some fantastic preliminary bouts, Nate. Some great action. And one great fight. I don't know where you want to start in the prelims, buddy, but go ahead.
Yeah, there was. I mean, this guy, Juan Adams, this guy looked good. He's a really big guy. Fought Chris De La Roca. Chris De La Roca is 39 years old, but he's a game competitor. And I'd be interested to see Juan Adams. I mean, Juan Adams beat him up, I think, finished him in the third round. Right. But I'd like to see Juan Adams after some good training and a little bit of time, working at it, because he's a really big guy. And Mike Rodriguez and Adam Milstead, dude, Mike Rodriguez was bringing these body shots with the knees like you wouldn't believe. I mean, we'll get into more body shots later in just a few minutes, with Barboza. But I mean, I'm telling you, this guy Mike Rodriguez was hitting Milstead with these knees, and Milstead was just taking him like a zombie. I mean, this guy is just getting terminated with these knees, and then finally he finished him with them. But that's one that's worth going back to watch, because I mean, I love body shots, and this one just filled my bill for it. I mean, it was fantastic.
Another one that if you missed it, Joaquin Silva against Jared Gordon fight, Nate. That could have been the best fight of the night, really. I mean, that was a great fight.
That was a great fight. There was a lot of great action in that fight, and they're going back and forth for a while. And I think that fight actually did win the fight of the night bonus. Jared
Gordon had Silva hurt early in the first round, and then the second round it was rock 'em sock 'em robots on the second, dude. It was insanity. The whole deal was, even both times in the first and second round, Jared was in trouble. Like, he almost got saved by the bell both rounds, being in submissions, especially that second round when he had that nasty knee bar going. Like, another 10 seconds, that fight's over there. You know what I mean? Sure. That was bad news. And then, of course, Silva finishes off with a beautiful combination. You know what I mean? The right hand he's been landing all night with the jumping knee. Crazy, awesome finish, and what a great fight. And that continues, man. There was other great fights in the
For sure. Like, I think that a knee bar knee bar injured him a little bit, because he was wobbling a little bit and limping after that, and I think that kind of contributed to the knockout that came soon after.
And Bobby Green, had a good fight against Drakkar. Drakkar got the unanimous decision, but Drakkar did more than enough. It's a close fight. It's one of those you can kind of score rounds either way. You can go back to it, but Bobby always shows up.
So then after that, we had Charles Oliveira and Jim Miller. And Jim Miller, I mean, the guy's been around forever. He's fought everybody pretty much, and Charles Oliveira made quick work of him last night, Rich. That was over in the first 2 minutes. I mean, really just wasted him.
I mean, it was very easy, a big slam, and then just, I can't even say methodical, because it was a minute 15 in the first round, but He went right to the choke. Brat, done. So moving on to pretty rudimentary win here, Nate. Rob Font and Sergio Pettis.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Pettis was gonna. I thought Pettis was going to win this fight.
Yeah, they were really hyping him up with return to 135.
I just don't see it, to be honest with you. I didn't see it.
No, well...
Disappointing.
It was disappointing performance by Pettis. I think maybe the lights got a little too bright for him. He's in his hometown, making his, getting a big push. Here we go, 135, because they're closing 125, and we know this. And here goes Rob Font saying, I'm not the one. And it was just from start to finish, all Rob Font with the jab. It was a nasty jab that snapped his head back all day. Pettis had nothing to say about it. Basically, walking him down the entire time, right straight to the body, and that was it. And then at one point, the fight does go to the ground, and Font simply elevator presses him up, does a nice sweep with the Kimura into the top game right away. I mean, this was a 1,000% Rob Font. Sergio's go back to the drawing board, dude. I mean, like, he looked small, and he looked outclassed in there.
Yeah, for sure. And that brings us to Edson Barbosa and Dan Hooker. And
Great fight, Nate.
First thing, right off the top, I mean, Barbosa put on a clinic, Rich, of stand-up kicking, up top, in the middle, down bottom, everything, Rich. He was showing everything. It was unbelievable.
I mean, that stat they put out that, I don't know why I never even thought of it, okay? But it was so cool that Barbosa is the only fighter in the UFC to win a match with a leg attack kick, a body kick, and a head kick. You know what I mean? Like, so this guy is just the nastiest
wheel
with the
kick
kicks.
that he was throwing. Watch out for that thing. To take your head off.
Bro, he was when he was finishing.
You see how fast he was with that thing?
Bro, the third round, when he's hitting him with that spinning back kick to the solar plexus, Nate, I mean, his liver is gone. I'm going to tell you right now with Dan Hooker, okay? Dan Hooker is not going to be able to walk.
It like a champion.
Bro, he's not going to be able to walk, breathe, take a shit for a while, buddy. I mean,
I wish I was sitting next to Boss Rutan watching that fight.
Oh, Boss Rutan. I was looking for the reaction from Boss for that, but I didn't get any, unfortunately. But oh man, I would love to sit there and have a cigar with Boss and watch that one, because I mean that would just be a dream come true. But I mean that was what's up. Just a striking clinic, Nate. I mean
it was.
And let me tell you right now, the kid showed Hooker. I mean, one of the toughest guys. Reminded me of that Elkins.
He is. I mean, unbelievable. I mean,
a zombie.
The guy's as tough as nails. But we're going to talk about it just like everyone else is talking about it now, Rich.
Right.
Why isn't the coroner stopping this fight?
This is exactly it, man. I mean, they brought up a great point with DC and Bisping in the post game, and Dana with the interview afterward, and everyone's bringing it up. DC brings it up that you listen. Just like we've seen before some other fights, like that Elkins fight that I mentioned before, okay? Guys getting destroyed, and then your fighter better than everybody else in that whole ring. Protect your fighter. You're seeing it more often in boxing. You've seen it forever in boxing. Guys will throw the towel in. That's just not the culture in MMA, and that culture needs to change. It's about protecting your fighter, bud. I mean, Hooker's a young kid.
Yeah, and people can blame the ref too, but as far as the ref goes, I couldn't put my finger on a certain moment when I thought the fight should have been stopped. So I can't put it on the ref because they also have boundary. They're also bound by stipulations and standards for their job. Whereas, the coroner saw what we saw and they should have known what we knew. I mean, they should have been on top of that. And we see this way too much. Like I said this a couple weeks ago with the Magny-Ponzinibbio fight. Why was Magny out there on one leg and with one eye?
Yeah, that was clear too.
And you could even say the same for that Elkins fight. I mean, he was on one leg. You knew he was going to get knocked out, and he got knocked out.
Elkins was
a little bit, a little bit closer to a, like it wasn't quite as bad as the Magny fight. Not quite as bad, but we could have argued that the Elkins fight should have been stopped.
Dude, these guys are just animals, and got all the props in the world. I mean, Hooker. Obviously his stock, he's still a young kid. He's training with Adesanya out there, City Kickboxing, but his stock is still going to go up. I mean, but you know what? Protect your guy. This kid's like early 20s. I don't even know how old he is. 22?
That's what I don't understand.
Right? I mean, you got a whole career. Like, you protect your fighter. It's a call out to the corners, man. And hopefully we see a change in the culture, man, because it's needed, buddy. It's needed.
Well, I also like that the UFC is saying something about it now. Trying to encourage the corners to try to protect their people, their investments, their products. Like I hate to make them sound like property like that because these are people who with families, but
all the more reason, though. All the more reason.
But I mean, yeah, exactly. But I'm saying, like, even like the UFC, like this is their product. They need to protect these guys.
More than just a great night at UFC. There was a packed night of combat sports, and we can't get into it all. We got an hour show. I mean, Canelo, took out the dude.
Yeah, Rocky made quick work of him. Did you see that video put on Facebook of Alvarez hitting the miss? I mean, he looked unbelievable. I mean, this isn't a boxing show, but holy cow, go back and watch that video. It's unbelievable watching him hit those mitts.
Listen, we're not a boxing show, but we recognize great combat sports. We're not one of these douchebags. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, great fights are great fights, and he knocked that dude out. It was crazy. But then moving on, we had a Victor going on as well, but also, Bellator had another doubleheader. Nate, this is so ill. We were talking about this last week. I'm loving this, dude, and like we got to make a point to try to get to one of these doubleheaders because this would be a great time. Bellator Hawaii,
absolutely. Yeah, like 2 nights in Hawaii, back-to-back nights, and I mean,
2 nights in Hawaii. buy you back to back. What are you crazy? Watching fights? Great fights too. Great fights.
Yeah. I mean, Brent Primus and Michael Chandler. I mean, I want to say Brent Primus, because the band Primus, I love Primus. But, this is a great fight.
Sailing the seas of cheese with Primus. Sailing the seas of cheese.
Yeah. But, I mean, like Michael Chandler, man, he's hitting hard, I mean, like, that night was all about him, I mean, he's becoming a champion, his third time being the champion, third time becoming a champion in the same weight class. Only other guy to do it was Randy Couture.
Right. The second fighter in Bellator, UFC, WEC Pride Strikeforce history with 3 title reigns in a single weight class. I mean, just to be clear what that is, and only the GOAT contender, Randy the Natural Couture, has ever done that. I mean, this guy has done everything. Like we talked about Patricio last week, okay? Look at all these things he's done. Nate, with 6 victories in Bellator championship fights, tied with Patricio for the most in the company's history. He's had 16 victories in Bellator competition, again, tied with Pitbull, and 14 victories in the lightweight competition, which are the most in divisional history. He's done everything for Bellator, Nate. I mean, what else is there? I mean, this is when you have to have, like, a champion versus champion. I mean, would that be awesome to have, like, here's Chandler, who honestly would be top 5 in the lightweight division if you put him in UFC tomorrow. I mean, this guy's like that. You know what I mean? Versus Khabib, whoever the champion is, 155. I mean, and for the UFC, that would be just an amazing, epic moment. I know it never happened, but I would love to see that.
It would be fantastic to see Chandler in that division, of course. I mean, that's what I was thinking of when I saw him finish that fight is, why isn't Chandler fighting Iaquinta? Wouldn't that be great to see? Or anybody. I mean, Khabib would be great too, of course.
I mean, he's right in that ilk. I mean, there's no mistake. He's not coming in fighting cans or low-level dudes as gatekeepers when coming. If Chandler was to come to the UFC, he is a top draw. He's a top guy. Just like this Patricio. Both these guys, we got stacked divisions in UFC in this, obviously. 145, 155. Patricio Pitbull Fieri and Michael Chandler are right in that mix over there. And I know Bellator, they're Mr. Bellator guys. I understand this. But I would just love to see some way that we can get this done, a cross-promotion, something. I mean, like, we're gonna get to it later, but Cobra's already kind of trolling him a little bit, but let's put it up. I mean, like, he's very open to all kinds of weird stuff like that. He'd be open for it, I think.
We also have Frank Mir and Javi Ayala.
Dude,
did you see? Look at the crowd was booing Frank Mir there. I mean, did you see the look on Mir's face? He was like surprised at the crowd's reaction. They're booing him.
I mean, but well,
and I'm all right there. I mean, like, I don't hate Frank Mir, but no. I don't mind when he gets booed.
Mir has got he's always had kind of a little bit of a douchiness to him. You know what I mean? Like, he's always had that. So It's either you're down with it or you're not. And, he's been cooler at times. He's had the crowd, but, Hawaii, they're not down. It is what it is. No. And Mir, listen.
He came right out and got the takedown. I mean, he stayed busy there. And, he went for the mount, and Ayala exploded up out of it. Like you said, he was gunning and got up from there. And, like, Ayala laying some heavy shots there, just annihilated him.
Really bloody fight. And then at one point in the, they have a clinch work against the cage. Mir's lost his mouthpiece. It's gone for like over a minute. Like, you know what I mean? And he gets with
doesn't
short
anybody
elbows.
Notice this stuff?
No one notices it.
Where's his corner? I mean, isn't his corner watching them?
What about the ref, though? Like, isn't it the ref's deal? Correct me if I'm wrong. The ref needs to find the right moment to stop the action briefly so the man can get his mouth guard back in his mouth. Like, you got to let him do that.
Is that what he was trying to talk to the ref about? Because it looked there for a moment that he was trying to talk to the ref about the blood in his eyes, like he wanted to get his face wiped or something. Did you see that?
He was kind of
getting grinded, but was he talking about his mouthpiece? Is that what he was talking about? I thought he was talking about his eye.
I think he was talking about his mouth because when he took a couple of those short little blows, his jaw, he broke that. I can't even pronounce it. He broke.
I know, but it was like a jawbone.
Yeah, it was a jawbone, the alveolar ridge. And I think when he got cracked once, he tried to like close his mouth and he said he couldn't do it or something like that.
Yeah, like he knew it was broken or something.
Yeah, and so it was a wrap, but freaky, fluky thing. But come on, Beltran. I mean, let's get the guy's mouthpiece and maybe he was having a
Beltran. This guy's got these handlebar mustache.
Yep.
This handlebar mustache is like down to his waist. How long do you think it takes him to grow that thing? 10 years?
It's like
20 years? Has he ever cut it? How long is that thing? I think it has to be like 2.5, 3 feet long.
He must get caught like it's like pasta sauce and shit. Like, what is he doing with that? Like,
I'm gonna do like a tug of war with that thing. Like, one of us on each end.
When he gets into, how is he supposed to get into a fight? I'm grabbing that thing. I'm lassoing that bastard with his own hair. Like, that's what I'm doing.
He's gonna get strangled. He's gonna get mugged and strangled with his own mustache.
Oh my god.
I shouldn't say that's awful.
No, it's funny. So anyway, like On Saturday, we had another Bellator match. I mean, again, can you imagine being in Hawaii for the weekend, going to watch 2 MMA fights? I mean, oh my, what the fuck? Anyway, so great fights that night, last night too. Well, we're watching Al too. These fights are going on. Molda Wall made his return to 205 and got smoked against Liam McGarry. He has nothing. He has no chin. And, I see you, Mo. I mean, you blocked me on Twitter like 3 years ago because I said you were a fake Rampage. Peace out. That was, Liam McGarry, former champion, made it happen. I love it. We'll see what happens here with Liam. Then we have one of the opening round fights for their welterweight GP, Neiman Gracie, who is Henzo's nephew. He took on Ed Ruth in a fantastic grappling match, Nate. Fantastic.
Yeah, it really was fantastic. And, it's always nice to see a Gracie get in there, I mean, I know that there's a little bit of a where some people don't care for the Gracies so much because they are so popular, but it's nice to have, really the first family of the sport. It's nice to still have him in the sport, like Kron and this fight,
Oh, definitely. And you know what? This fight had a lot of really cool grappling exchanges where it was like Pele Landy Johns and like Newton back in the day. The pride that was boop, 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 up and down, up and do, sliding, making maneuvers. And you got like one high level wrestler and one high level BJJ guy. It was a refreshing, nice, exciting grappling fight. And I love that. I love that. But in the end, Gracie secured the rear naked choke in the fourth. And, he moves on to the tournament, and that's really awesome. Grand Prix rants aside, I like this field better in the GP than the heavyweight GP field. This feels like more of like guys that are all natural 170 pounders making it happen. It's going to be fun.
Right. And then we have Machida making his debut. Machida gets the win in a really close split decision here, Rich.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the wrestling and Machida's takedown appear to be the difference there. He was able to get that control in the fight. I really feel that's it. I feel that people think that it was definitely a close fight, okay? Dudes that want to make more of a case of Rafael, you're really discounting what happened with Machida on the ground. When you have top control and you're getting takedowns, that's cage control. That is a part of scoring, and it is a very close fight. Machida looked really good. I mean, they're already talking about a Machida Gerard Mousasi rematch. They're already talking about that. That for the title. That's going to be awesome. Great. Be fantastic to see.
Yeah. I mean, like that's going to be a great fight if that happens. So then, of course, for the main event, we had, the big budding star, Ilima Lei McFarlane, undefeated, taking on, UFC veteran Val Latorno, who, by the way, Val is the first woman to be in a championship fight for both the UFC and Bellator. So that's really cool. Good for her. But nevertheless, she lost. She got beat up for 3 rounds. Some nice elbows and transition nicely from, the triangle right to the straight arm bar. Took care of her. It was all McFarlane. It was her night. And, you got to start in the making here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was really impressive on her part, transitioning really nicely, getting the submission. I think it was in the 3rd round she got it. And, I mean, she really has dominated, start to finish. So, I mean, you can't say more about her performance.
Oh, hell yeah. But we got, before we get into a new segment, guys, who you got, it's going to be a really fun one. I think you guys are going to really dig on it. We're getting some news, and we got some things popping off this past week, and let's talk about it, dude.
Yeah, so Dominic Cruz, we're all looking forward to seeing him come back. I guess he's out of the fight with Lineker. He's out with an injury. It looks like UFC is trying to get Cody Garbrandt in there to replace him. I mean, Garbrandt would be a great replacement, but I want to see Cruz fight. I know Garbrandt's back. I want to see Cruz back.
Yeah, I mean, it is good for Garbrandt. Let's see if it happens. Nothing official as of this recording yet with that situation. But yeah, Dom, I don't know, man. It's been 2 years. Like, I think it's a wrap for Dom. I mean,
yeah, I love Dom. Too, unfortunately, I think he should retire. Unfortunately, I think he's one of the greatest of all time. I mean, he's definitely
revolutionized the sport and the division.
One of the top guys in his weight class ever, for sure.
I mean, he just changed the game for so many people. But Dom, he's great behind the desk, dude. I mean, what is he going to do? He's going to be behind that desk doing analytics.
He does good work there.
Good work, dude. And, he does a great job. I mean, he's
one of the best, like one of the best fighter commentators. And they have some really good ones. Like we heard last night, Felder and DC, those guys are gold together.
Both fantastic. So anyway, in terms of other fantastic fights, we got Aldo versus Moicano being scheduled for beginning of February for UFC on ESPN2 in Brazil. Has it been confirmed? I think is it confirmed, Nate?
Yeah, it is confirmed now. It's
nice.
Confirmed for the second ESPN2 show, Brazil, February 2nd, 2019, for sure.
Beautiful. Now, so Usman, okay, we've been posting stuff on our social medias talking about he signed a contract with Woodley. Dana's pissed off with Woodley right now. Colby's taking pictures off of girls' butts and like making fights. I don't know what the
I know
that guy doing. He's a clown. But
did you see that commercial, whatever that Colby made? It's like he's not even being sincere here. He's just trying to make up whatever he can to get a reaction. It's just a joke. He's an idiot. I don't even want to see him. I don't even think that he's going to be able to get a fight here coming up because of what's going on with Dana and Woodley.
Usman, though, he signs the contract with Woodley, okay? But Woodley hasn't signed anything yet, so what does that really mean? I mean, we all want one of these guys to fight one another. And Colby, if he didn't have the worst gimmick of all time, I'd be more sympathetic to his situation, but you got to look at unbiased. It's kind of shitty, too. Here's a guy who got the interim belt. Okay, then they take it away on some BS.
Yeah, that's pretty stupid on their part,
right? And then they guarantee a title. They built it up as like this is the guarantee guy to fight Woodley. He wins that opportunity, belt, whatever. Fuck the belt. He got that opportunity. Now they're like, oh, not really, whatever. And it's all just crap. And Usman, had a lot of great things to say on UFC Unfiltered.
If the champ is unable to fight, the only other fight I want to settle for is Colby Covington, because that fight is personal to me. That's a fight that I personally want. There's fights that you want to move up. Obviously, I got into this sport to become the champion.
Yes.
But Colby Covington is a fight that I will settle for. Whether I have one leg or one arm, that's a fight that I will fight hurt because that's a guy that I really just want to get my hands on. You know how there's just some of those, there's just that guy. Like you just want to beat up so bad.
100%.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You'll do anything to get your hands on him. And that's the case. But when it comes down to it, absolutely, I'm for the title. That's what I want.
It's a clusterfuck, dude. Like, he's willing to fight anybody he wants, essentially, Usman. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I mean, like, it's hard to really even comment about what's next because I don't know who's going to fight who right now.
Well, I mean, Colby has this gimmick that's so stupid where he really just says things trying to make people upset, like what he said about Brazilian people, and then like Verdum confronted him, and what did he do? He just like covered up and act like what? He had no idea why Verdum could be upset with him. And then here he is talking trash to Usman. Usman goes up and confronts him, and he's looking at his phone, trying to ignore him. So like. He just says things on the internet, and then he goes and hides like a coward. Bad, I mean, give me a break. What a joke. He's a joke.
He's a joke. Another thing that's an absolute joke is that we have this De La Hoya Dana rivalry continues with these barbs back and forth, and like now De La Hoya challenged him to a boxing match. Like, this is some kind of WWF shit. Like, I don't know what is going on here, dude. Like,
yeah, this is an absolute joke too, and this is why this is a joke, because everyone knows that Dana doesn't want anything to do with Oscar De La Hoya, and he certainly doesn't want to box him of all things. If there's one thing that no one wants to do with De La Hoya is box him, for peace sakes. I mean, even though like I think Dana did some boxing when he was in like South Boston a little bit,
he's
a long time ago. Yeah, but not De La Hoya for, I mean, give me a break. And, so of course De La Hoya wants to box, and that's all he can do. He can't promote, he can't talk, he can't do anything else right. I mean, like Dana says that he sniffs 12 pounds of cocaine before he eats breakfast. So I don't know what's going on with De La Hoya. But I can tell you this: he's not a very good promoter, and he announced that they're looking into doing Golden Boy MMA 2.
Of course they are.
So they're doing the sequel, and they're going to make it happen.
But De La Hoya, it's looking worse for him. Like, what kind of childish, immature shit is that? Like, you're a promoter, you're an adult, you're going to challenge. What is Dana? Dana's obviously talking a lot of crap as Dana does, but in no way are we trying to get a fight here. Okay, he's criticizing your business, putting his best friend up on a stage, look like he's going to get killed. I mean, it's an embarrassment there, and you're looking even more embarrassed. Shut up. Do the MMA 2, if that's what you're going to do. And how about do a lot better job at that? Because what the product that he put out was a joke to begin with. I want nothing to do with that organization at all. Show me something. I mean, have respect for fans and fighters. I mean, it's just, you're acting like an idiot. Speaking of real situations, it's looking like, they're trying to book Kane versus Ngannou at UFC Phoenix. Kane Ngannou.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to see this fight? I mean, when I first started seeing rumors about this, I don't know. It's definitely not official yet, but they say they're in pretty serious talks to make it happen. We've all wanted to see Kane come back, and Ngannou looks like he's on the uptick here. So let's make it happen. This is a great time for Ngannou to fight. I kind of wish they're giving Kane maybe a can to warm up to, but hey, whatever.
They were talking originally about Stipe.
About Stipe, too.
But I'm thinking now that I'm seeing this Ngannou. No, Ngannou, listen, he won. He beat Blades. He's still number 2. This is perfect for him. This is a perfect fight for Ngannou, okay? I don't think it's going to go well for Ngannou. And we can talk about Kane later. But bottom line is, this is a perfect matchup. This is great. It's great to see what's up with both guys.
Well, this is a great fight for both guys because, I mean, like, Ngannou has that newfound confidence again. And, like, I mean, like, Ngannou's fighting well, or, like, at least he feels that he's fighting well. And, like, I think he's someone who really hinges on having that confidence, having that wind at your back, that uptick.
He's definitely a front runner. He's definitely a front
because
runner.
I mean, like Miocic broke him like a horse, and I think that can be done again, but I don't think he's as susceptible to it right now as he was, because I thought he was going to get beat up by Blaze, but he knocked him out quick, obviously, which is not fluky, but I couldn't really draw much from it.
You can't draw anything from it because Blades didn't really have a chance to do anything.
Right.
Great win. UFC 233. Anaheim has been canceled January 26th. They're moving everything over that ESPN Plus card, Nate, and they had to shut the door on it.
Yeah, I mean, Scott Coker was trolling them about it. Said,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, everybody has a business to run. They have business to run. We have a business to run, and we've been going on that date for the last 3 years or however long. So everybody knows we're going to go on that date, and so it didn't work out for them because I think it's like to me it's a roster issue. Who's going to fight? And if you're going to bring somebody to fight against like the Fedor Bader card, and ours is free on Paramount and on DAZN, and you're going to run on pay-per-view, you better have your A game. And you know what? I just think that they just ran out of bullets. So here we are. This is not the first time. This is I think the second, maybe even the third time this happened on that weekend.
But I mean, for fans, this is great because we're basically getting a pay-per-view on ESPN, like a pay-per-view quality show on ESPN for free. And we don't need to pick and choose between that and the Bellator show. So it works out well for us.
I'm curious though, Nate. I keep seeing the ESPN Plus. Is ESPN Plus not? I mean, I don't know or care about ESPN. I mean, I will.
Actually, you know what? Like, it's not for free. ESPN Plus is the paid ESPN.
Right. So you got to pay for this, but it's like a monthly fee.
ESPN. It's
right. Like a $5-10 thing, I think. But yeah, it's going to be on ESPN Plus, so it's not going to be on ESPN.
You're right.
The Aldo fight is on ESPN 2. That's a free situation. That's going to be on Aldo. But this ESPN Plus, you have to pay.
I don't think that is, Rich. No, I think that is ESPN Plus 2, like show 2, like ESPN Plus 2.
Really? The bottom line is ESPN Plus. That's that card. It's going to be on there. Whether it's free, it's not pay-per-view. You're not paying $60, in other words, right? And then here's some bad news with our favorite new organization, the World Bare Knuckle Federation, Fighting Federation. They're not paying their fighters, Nate. It's embarrassing. It's an embarrassing situation. I don't know. This doesn't look good for the organization.
No, I mean, the fight was over a month ago. 2 fighters were also awarded custom Mustangs, and they haven't been given them yet. Boss came out with a statement on social media explaining what happened and promises all fighters will be paid 100%. This is really, looking terrible really fast.
And you know what? Boss is associating himself. He's the president. He's essentially the Dana White of this organization. Boss, he's not the money man here. I mean, Boss, it's got to be embarrassing for Boss. He's trying to put behind a product that's good, and they came out with a great show. That was a fun, awesome show. You know what I mean? Unlike this Golden Boy MMA, the bare knuckle fights were awesome. You know what I mean? Great, well done. It'd be a real shame if they're not getting this together. I mean,
I have one more here that just came in. GSP said that he was asked about fighting Anderson Silva, and he said that there wasn't any value in him fighting Anderson Silva at this point in his career.
I agree with him.
I agree with him too. Because I mean, at this point, GSP, he really just wants fights that are going to make him, better. That they're going to give him, a bigger standing, and
right.
There really aren't many of those fights out there. I mean, the only one that I can think of is obviously Khabib.
Well, the Anderson GSP fight would have been the biggest fight in MMA history, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever it was, right? When they were talking about it came up a couple times in the that planets almost aligned a couple times in our history here, but never happened. That's when it should have happened. Now Anderson's kind of on the way out. He is on the way out. He's gatekeeping Israel. And GSP is picking and choosing. It's no value. I mean, I totally agree.
Is there another fighter in the world that you think would raise GSP's stock if he beat them right now? Like Woodley. Do you think if he came and fought Woodley and beat Woodley, would that raise GSP's stock?
Yes. I mean, there are 2 fights that I would see him do. It will be the champions. Either go for the 155-pound belt with hopefully Khabib, or return to the division that you dominated in 170 and beat the current champion. If that's Tyron, if that's going to be Colby Usman, I'd rather it be a Woodley. Either one of those fights are the fights for him. I mean, if he can return to 170 and be like, yep, I got my belt back and I'm another title holder at 155, I mean, hard to argue GSP wouldn't be the best ever, period, stop.
Yeah, I mean, with GSP, like those, that like safe era kind of hurts him a little bit, where he had so many decisions in a row. But, he was
Still win, though.
He still won. And, and like you could say that he was one of the best grapplers of all time. And, and he wasn't even, he didn't even come from a grappling background. Like karate was his first craft. I mean, karate was his first martial art, I think. And, and he just, developed this wrestling pedigree. And he went through all the big wrestlers. I mean, Shirk, Trigg, Hughes. It goes on and on,
One of the best ever. I mean, not the most exciting at times, but very effective and one of our first true athletes. I mean, GSP really, was a true he is a true martial artist. He's fantastic. So talking about true martial artists, Nate, got a new segment.
Who you got?
What we're going to do for you guys is we're going to give you 2 fighters in 3 stages of a career. Okay, the beginning, budding situation, like the sunrise here, and then guys currently residing as kings, current kings, and then legends on the way out. And we're going to give you 2 fighters of each, and then we're going to decide who would you rather have, who would you rather be for the next 3 years in their career, starting from today, December 16th, for the next 3 years. Who would you rather be between the 2 guys?
Israel Adesanya or Anthony Smith?
So we have Israel Adesanya, 185-pound fighter. He's coming up against Anderson Silva here soon, on his way to a title shot. Anthony Smith says that he's waiting for a title shot. He's had some big fights, some big wins recently. Ozdemir, Shogun. Rich, what do you think of these 2?
These 2 guys, I'm loving what I'm seeing out of both these guys in 2018. I mean, this is fantastic out of both. But if I was to look at both guys' careers as they stand right now, both on the cutting edge of making things happen in the sport in a huge way. Personally, me, I want to be Israel Adesanya for the next 3 years. And why do I say that? Israel Adesanya will be the next big thing in MMA in the next 3 years. I mean, he is going to be that next big superstar. He's right on that. He's right there. He understands the game from every angle, from the promotion to the style to the fighting style, and even how he's progressing in his technique as we go along. Brunson, we really thought it was going to be a test for him. Obviously, a fantastic major league striker who's creative and fantastic with a killer instinct. But does he have the wrestling? And Brunson challenged him on that, and he made quick work of him. And it looks really great. And now you got a situation here that, yes, he's going to fight. Now here's a man who's fighting his idol. Here's a guy who was watching in his bedroom, idolizing. Now he's fighting him. You know what I mean? Like, this is happening to him. And with a big performance here against a name legend like Anderson Silva, Nate, this is it for him. He could really take this in the next 3 years and really become the next Conor, the next Ronda Rousey, like a big force in MMA.
I completely agree. I mean, I think he might be the best striker in the entire sport right now. Anthony Smith, we can't overlook this guy. He's a really good fighter. He's beaten a lot of good fighters in the UFC in convincing fashion. We know about the Shogun knockout. Adesanya is still undefeated. And I think there are some other factors here that kind of push my decision that these guys can't even control. Like Anthony Smith, John Jones is the champion in his division. So Anthony Smith is going to beat John Jones? I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't foresee Jones losing to anybody anytime soon. I don't think he's going to be undefeated forever and ever. But I'm just at the point where I don't know who can beat him. I don't think Gustav's going to beat him, but we'll see.
Here's what I think about Anthony Smith. Okay, when you look at 2 guys I want to be in their shoes for 3 years, Anthony Smith right now is ranked number 3 in the light heavyweight division. Only guys above him are the aforementioned Gustav and Bones. Okay, they're about to fight in 2 weeks. We all assume Bones, but who knows? Bottom line is, either one of those guys, I think that Anthony's next up to fight either one of those guys, okay? Win or lose, whatever. Whereas, here's Israel, okay? He's going to mollywop Anderson Silva. We know this. And set himself up with a fantastic fight at middleweight or for the title at that point. Whether it's the title or not, you got,
I would say it better be for the title at that point.
Well, we'll see. But it's, either way, you're talking about either right away or the next one. Right there. What I'm trying to make is with Lionheart, yes, his next fight will be for the title, okay? Whereas I see Israel beating any of those guys we're talking about, whether it's for the title or not, at the top 5. Any of those guys I could see Israel beating. Anthony Smith is not beating Gustafsson. He's not beating Bones Jones. And I'll be honest with you, he might figure out with those fights that maybe 205 isn't for him, Nate.
That could be. I could see him going down to 185 too. And you know what? Those aren't the only guys in 205 that would concern me. I mean, like Dominic Reyes is dangerous. That guy Johnny Walker. I've only seen him once, but I don't think anyone wants to fight that guy.
Anthony Smith's fantastic. I mean, listen, you can't deny those knockouts against,
No, for sure, he's a
Shogun,
fantastic
Rashad
fighter.
Evans.
But I'm just saying, like he's not bar none the best, aside from Gustav.
I'm just seeing 100%. Both these guys are going to have great careers, and I can't wait to see either one of them fight. I'm a big fan of both guys. But whereas I see when you talk about comparing two guys, it's simple a matter of Israel's going to be the next big thing, whereas Anthony's going to be possibly a champion, but a contender, in his career for sure. Whereas Israel, I really feel, is going to be that next situation.
And I feel the same way because I don't see anyone beating Adesanya. Like I can't see who that person is. Whereas I think Jones beats Anthony Smith. I'm not sure that Gustav beats him, but I mean, I would probably have to put my money on Gustav if I were forced to. But like I think also those guys, some other guys in that division could give him a hard time. So like you said, I could see him going down to 185.
I feel like I'm really crapping on the kid Lionheart. But I'm not. You know what I mean? Like it's just you're comparing that situation, and on those rules alone, I think Anthony Smith's going to be great.
Well, that's why I said that there are some factors involved here that these guys can't control, like the fact that John Jones is the champion in that division.
But yeah, nobody's right now. Currently, there is no champion at 205. You know what I mean? You're going to have two guys there that could be one or the other. We all assume Bones, and but you never know what could happen, man. You never know what could happen. But as of right now, if it's Bones or Gustafsson, it's going to be a tough matchup for Bones. Either way, one more than other,
Who you got? Max Holloway or Khabib Nurmagomedov?
Current kings. These are the guys right now. We just saw beautiful performances with them in 2018. Where are they at right now? What's next for them? 3 years from today, Nate, would you rather be Max Holloway or Khabib Nurmagomedov?
This one I think was the hardest of the three groups to compare because these guys are both right at the top of their game. And until last weekend, this would have been easy for me to call Khabib because Khabib has been extremely dominant, keeping busy. Everyone's been seeing him. Max hadn't, done much in a while. And a lot of people kind of forgot. I kind of forgot a little bit about how great he was, to be honest with you. And to see him come back and dominate Ortega like that, I mean, I don't know if Khabib could have done that to Ortega. I mean, who would win right now if they fought right now?
An amazing match.
I mean, I can't tell you who I think would win that. And 2 weeks ago, it would have been easily Khabib, for sure. No problem. I mean, I wouldn't have even thought twice about it. Holloway was just unbelievable against Ortega. So you can't discredit that in any way because it's not like Ortega did anything wrong or did anything stupid. He just got beat up.
When you look at Khabib, you look at Max. You're talking two guys that are, at the top of the sport, obviously. If I'm going to pick one, it's going to be I want to be the blessed one, Max Holloway. And such a flip, like you had said. If you talked to me 6 months ago, we're talking easily Khabib. Here's Khabib undefeated, fighting, Conor McGregor finally, wins the title, crazy situation with the bus and the whole thing, puts that aside, makes it happen, with all that nonsense, gets the belt, beats Conor in convincing fashion, then you have Max Holloway who, around that same time, you don't know if he's ever going to fight again, Nate. I mean, he tried to make that fight with Khabib too. He tried to lose 30 pounds in 2 days, got pulled off the scale. He's got these concussion things. No one still knows what's going on with that. I mean, for me, it was a real health concern. 3 years, this guy may not be fighting. He may not be fighting right now. And then he comes out and puts on probably his best performance ever against an Ortega. It looks unbelievable, where when you flip the coin, a Khabib gets into serious legal trouble, okay? The whole situation there, they have a Nevada State Athletic Commission, has a lot to say about what's happening with Khabib.
We still don't know when he's going to fight again.
We don't know when he's going to fight again. And it's all this political crap, okay? You're talking about this situation with their suspension, okay? You keep having the specter of other nonsense of, I'm leaving UFC if they don't do this and that. Or, I'll go to Bellator. Or I'll box. Or some other shit. Like, I don't know what's going on with what's around Khabib's circle right now. But he's really feeling himself in a way that he really shouldn't be. Be focused on getting back into that cage and defending that title against guys that are waiting for him in a logjam division. And one of those matchups could even be Max Holloway. So it's a weird situation. I don't like it at all. And if you're looking at a guy like Max Holloway, this guy cleared out a 145-pound division. I'd like to see him fight Frankie just on the strength of Edgar being a Hall of Famer. But that's the only guy left there. And then what? You got 155 with all those great matchups. I mean, a Conor rematch, a Khabib fight, Tony. These would be awesome fights. And he could win them all.
Yeah, he definitely could. I mean, like something else about Khabib is, in a way, if all this stuff weren't happening, I would probably go with him because his style normally, like, he would like take less damage than Holloway, who's a stand-up striker, who's just going to stand up and bang with you. I mean, like, Khabib's going to take less damage, and maybe his career, he can help it last a little bit longer. Maybe in 3 years he'll be in better physical shape because of his style that he fights. But if we don't, what do we know?
It's cool way
We
to
don't know
look
if
at
he's
it.
going to fight again. And something else I'm wondering is if Nevada takes his or bans him for, let's say it's 18 months. Does that mean that he can just go to Madison Square Garden fight, or is New York going to hold that up and be like,
Everyone,
so they all do that.
They
They say 18 months. It means he's not fighting again for 18 months anywhere in the U.S.
in the U.S. and then it's really like a mutual respect thing amongst
I figured, but I just
commissions,
didn't know if it really was like that.
If he went to Russia and fought some like backwoods shit they don't really care, I guess, whatever, but they're not going to look good. It's not official. You know what I mean? Like, you follow what, Nevada said, especially in America.
What about going to Ryzen then, or One?
I think they would still uphold what happened. Again, it'd be less likely. They definitely don't have to. They don't have to hold it up as in like the United States, but I think they would. I mean, they got, professional organizations. I mean, this guy jumped the fence and tried to attack people, and it was a really bad look. You can't reward him.
Well, because also, like the Nevada State Athletic Commission, you have to think that they hold about as much weight as anybody in the entire world.
Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy, man. But so for you, who would you pick, man? You saying Max Holloway?
I would go with Holloway just because I don't know when Khabib's going to fight again. I mean, like, Holloway might go up and be the lightweight champion before Khabib even fights again.
Max's career right now, that 2019 and beyond, is going to be so excited to see Max. I mean, nobody deserves it more than this guy.
Who you got? Cain Velasquez or Fedor Emelianenko?
Okay, this is the waning legends portion, the sunsetting of the career. Okay, but is it sunsetting? Is it almost done? These guys are formers out here, former champs, you got Cain Velasquez, who's making a comeback now. We're talking about Ngannou. Then we got Fedor, who in January is going to be fighting for the Bellator heavyweight title against Ryan Bader for the GP final. Okay, that's happening in January. Can't wait for that one. This one, man, this is good. For me, this one was very tough for me because I don't know what we got with these guys, right? Cain and Fedor. You got a Cain that's finally coming back, okay? When Cain is Cain is... He's a nasty individual. He's one of the best. And I feel like we've been shortchanged a more epic career just due to the injuries, okay? I feel like when this guy is 100% and he's in there, no one can beat him. Honestly, I think Cain Velasquez is fantastic. And then you got a Fedor who's making a comeback with this GP situation where in a month's time, he could be a world title holder again in the heavyweight division. Does he stay? Does he continue to defend? Does he just tap out and like, I'm done, I won it? Or does he go on to fight a Karatanov or a Pro Cop or in Bellator? What happens there? With Cain, is that, Ngannou could piece him up and he's done. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like his injuries, he could be done. They train too hard out there in AKA. So for me, I don't know. It's a really tough thing. What do you think?
Well, this isn't really an apples-to-apples comparison for the most part because Fedor is 6 years older than Cain,
right.
So it's not like they're the same age, but you could say their bodies are, possibly equally weathered, so to say, for lack of a better term. But, something interesting, Keith Schillen is a writer with the MMA Takeover in Sherdog, and he asked Fedor who he thought his favorite, or who he thought the best fighter ever was, and Fedor said Cain. And now, we've heard fighters say this kind of stuff before, and I don't think Cain's the best fighter ever. I think Fedor is the best fighter ever.
Oh, me too.
So,
to be clear, me too.
Even Cain at his best, I think Fedor at his best would convincingly beat him for sure. But
can't deny how good Cain is. I mean, but Fedor is fantastic. I'm not saying anything about Fedor. I want to be very clear about that.
Sure. Whose career do I want for the next 3 years? I'm not sure that Cain's going to fight, but I think he will. Fedor going against Bader coming up. I mean, this is not a good fight for Fedor. Boys, it's going to be really interesting. But just because I think Fedor is the best ever, I'm going to say it's Fedor because it's good to be the best ever. And I think that Fedor's got a few more fights left in him. I think he's a few more wins. I don't know if he beats Bader, to be honest with you. And gosh, I really hope he beat him. I really hope he beats him, but I don't know if he will. But I think he has a few more wins in him. Cain, will he go back and become the champion? I mean, we'll see. I don't know if his body's going to let him do it. Like, I think he could. I don't know if it's going to hold up, though.
When you look at both these guys, I mean, you're not wrong there. I mean, but with Fedor, man, wouldn't it be amazing if he was a world champion? Of course, right? And if you get, win or lose, hopefully with a win, with a belt around his waist, he could have that Mitrione rematch. He could fight Krokop. He could fight Karatonov in some great, exciting matches to end his career, and it'd be an amazing run, and I'd love to see that. Whereas Kane, you're right, he is younger than a Fedor, but for me, I'd rather be Kane. I feel like AKA out there, they have a lot of killers, and Kane's been going up against some of the best in the division, the Khabibs, the DCs, even Luke Rockhold. I mean, we got some good guys out there that he's training against, and they train hard out there, and that's kind of to a detriment to his career in a way. But at the same time, he wouldn't come back, I feel, if he didn't feel like he was 100%, and I feel like he is 100%. And you got DC now giving up the belt. This is the narrative. But the bottom line is, I feel it's his time to reclaim this heavyweight division. You know what I mean? When he was the champion, obviously prime Fedor. Not taking it. This is not a Fedor versus Kane comparison in terms of a fight, but in terms of Kane, what he did for the UFC as the champion. I mean, he's top of the division, one of the best. And I feel that he has a lot of exciting fights ahead of him. Once he beats Ngannou, and he will handily, I believe he's going to beat him handily. Talk about it later, some other time. But he could come up with some great fights. I mean, that Stipe match we're talking about. I mean, that'd be a fantastic fight. And I feel like this is his time to take over. JDS, Tuivasa, a lot of big guys there. And I think for the next 3 years, I mean, Kane can really establish himself as the heavyweight kingpin again. Whereas I feel you maybe get, like you said, 3 fights out of Fedor. Hopefully, I never want to see that guy stop fighting, but you gotta face facts. You know what I mean? I think this is it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it could be interesting. But I think that wraps us up this week, Rich.
It does wrap us up, buddy. This is a fantastic show. Thank you guys for rocking with us. Next week, we're going to do 2019 predictions. And we're going to talk about the biggest UFC fight card for the New Year's Eve show. The Bones, Gustafsson 2, Nunes, Cyborg. It's going to be a great time. Can't wait for you to join us.
So, have a good week, and we'll see you next week.
Take it easy.
Like we just heard, check us out on Twitter at TBMMAPod or on Instagram at Trading Blows. You can also find us on Facebook at Trading Blows Podcast, and please rate and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you're listening.